Hey guys, I am back with some Crazyhouse action from FIDE Master Chickencrossroad and the one and only Xuanet. Um, saw this matchup. It's been going on for a while actually, and thought I'd record it, do some commentary, do some kibitzing, and see how these two guys get on, and produce some content to put up on YouTube. It's not the usual Jan Lee fare. Get some other high-level matchups up on there and see how these guys play, see what their styles are, how they differ from Jan Lee's. So we've got Xuanet and Chickencrossroad once again. A very high-level matchup here, both in the 2600s. They've both been, I believe, in the 2900s before, both well known for their bughouse prowess on fix. And yeah, it looks like it's been pretty back and forth so far today. Hopefully they'll keep these matches going for a while so I can kibitz on a few of them. 3+0, I like this time control. And okay, so let's jump into the position. What's going on here? This has come out of a Scotch game. Scotch Gambit looks like it's C3, but it was not accepted. Okay, both queens hanging here. Probably considering stuff like takes, or maybe he inserts a pawn on d7 first. Now the queen's on that, so takes. No, he's not going to do that. He's going to keep the tension and force this queen to move. No? Okay, I like that decision from black. Getting closer to the king side and still maintaining this pressure. Bishop's on e2, so you can't play a knight fork. Or you can, but it'll be taken. So now he's looking at sacks on f1, I imagine. So for example, if queen takes, the sack's going to come and that'll be mate, so maybe pawn d7 to drag the king out, followed by, probably won't take that, I'll probably sidestep. No, he does take it. Knight at c5. So where does the king want to run? e7. So looking for ways to bring the queen in. This square is guarded by the knight. He has to play everything with tempo because this is mate. Threatened. Pawn on here, king just sidesteps, and it's not really leading anywhere. Maybe he's even considering a sack and a knight. This bishop on here, but I don't think it's enough. So maybe you just bring the bishop out and guard the rook. Yeah, bring another piece into the fray. If he had a knight in hand, he could take and then place the fork. So this is a nice move, guarding both the e7 square with tempo. But it does drop this bishop. Okay, coming in on the white squares. And bishop pins up, also putting another attacker. So he's covering both the light, whoops, I can't draw these arrows to save my life, both the light squares and the dark squares, which is always a potent combination. Gonna get rid of that attacking unit. Yeah, it looks like white's gonna win this fairly handily. Black's attacking resources are drying up, and white still has plenty of pieces to attack with, all converging around the king side. So what was that move all about? Queening there. Maybe he's thinking about pawn on. Maybe just blocking off this rook's communication with the king side. Could be. Alright, bishop guarding the queen drop. Looks like he'll probably just get him on time. Just drag the king out anyway, make him on the board. Xuanet playing at a very high level. He's in good form it seems. So now he's just looking for the most efficient way to mate. Could take here, queen, could take here, could check. Anything's probably good enough with just 2 seconds left. Yeah. Knight check, and then take the rook, I'm guessing. And that'll be enough to win it. Okay. So that's 3 in a row for Xuanet. Rook here will be mate. A rook here. Not yet. Squares are wrong, but it doesn't really matter actually. Alright, going into e4 positions. Italian. Xuanet's been playing the bishop e7 move, I've noticed. He used to play bishop c5, but looks like he's vamped up his theory on the bishop e7 lines. What I like to do against bishop e7 is to either play this d4, that's the way to challenge this, or to sack on f7, both of which are pretty viable. You don't want to play passively against bishop e7 because bringing the bishop up to g5 and playing like you would a symmetrical Italian is not quite enough because the bishop's already thwarting that pin. And black can actually come out ahead in those variations, so you should play dynamically against this. Looks like a fairly equal position from here. So maybe bring the knight in, maybe bring a rook on this file. Maybe a rook check here blocks and take on g4 twice is an option. I do like the square for the knight eventually. I'll eventually land there. Okay, so he's going to attack this knight and drive it away from defense of the g4 knight. It's a good move as well. Xuanet up loads of time on the clock. I think that's a result of him being a little bit more familiar with the theory in these lines. Chickencrossroad strikes me as a player who plays by feel mostly, from his vast bughouse experience. He's got such a great intuition and just feel for the position, but Xuanet, I think, he may be a little bit better at theory, I don't know. Opening theory, that is. Okay, so he's going to sack on f7. Can't take with the queen, of course, because with the queen on f7 and the king on g8, you've got a knight fork here. So he could pick up the knight like this. He does. Maybe a knight here first. Yeah, the knight here, queen takes, I'm imagining, are the candidate moves. Maybe queen here. No, I don't really like that. Gives him another. Okay, so knight here is chosen. Make sure this is up and running. Okay, we're good. So where's the king step? This runs into some more knight checks. So maybe maybe back isn't terrible. Side steps. Okay. So well, he doesn't have any more checks here unless... Oh, he does. Actually, I just pointed that out and I overlooked that one. Okay. So black seems to be up a little bit of material here, right? Yeah. For the moment, I mean, this knight is hanging. And yeah, white's got a lot of pressure. I would take white here for sure. If queen on rook blocks, pawn takes. You always gotta, yeah, you gotta watch giving him another knight because then he'll always have knight at f3 ideas. So assuming rook blocks, and then what? Okay, he's just going to pick up the material. That makes sense. Yeah, white's still doing well here. Maybe even pawn here is decent. He's going to take that. Okay. Open up this discovery. This would be made, of course, with the double check. So what can black do about it? Not much, it looks like. I think he made... This might be reasonable, actually. Yeah. Surely there's a mate here somewhere. And this forces the king to move. Has to decide whether to take here or take here. Takes the knight. Okay, he's got 17 seconds to find mate, and he's kind of let the king get a little bit away from the pressure situation over here. The mating net isn't quite coalescing yet. Alright, you gotta take that bishop, I think. And then you take here. You may get him on time. Xuanet may come ahead on time here. I think he will, as a matter of fact. Yeah, after a bishop checking this diagonal, you've got no more. Well, the checks will run out eventually. So now black's mate comes. Yeah, just knight there is enough. I think he surely had better continuation over there. Maybe he missed something subtle. With king running up to c6. Alright, another Scotch. See if we go into a Scotch gambit or the Scotch game. Just castles. Okay, knight f6. I think is sensible. d6. I prefer knight f6 there, actually, just developing another piece. And you can get into some interesting lines like e5, d5. Okay, d6 makes sense, opening up the bishop's attack on this square. I'm not worrying too much about this pawn. It's equal material now. Found in the Scotch game, especially in Crazyhouse, if you worry too much about this pawn that you've taken on d4, try to defend it and kind of hold on to the material with your life, it's absolutely not worth it. You'll get into a lot of trouble very quickly. Alright, an exchange of knights. After takes, this square is defended from the knight fork, which is always something you got to be worried about with a king castled and a queen taking on d4. But a pawn here, or even a bishop here, will be a good attempt to divert this pawn from the defense of this square, after which this would be a fork. So that's a pretty typical motif in these Scotch structures. So he's not going to go for this move, though. It's interesting. Instead, this is a nicely centralized knight. You'll notice it both attacks some of these light squares around the king side and also defends this from the potential sack. Okay, now he goes for the pawn at h3, takes. This is an interesting idea, this f4 push. It's not something I've seen often. So, okay, so at f3, this loses a pawn, but it keeps the initiative going. What do you want to take? Take with the rook, so you keep this bishop on the light squares. Makes sense. And you don't want to give him another bishop to drop. So maybe h5, or maybe a rook on, both attacking and defending, although that seems not entirely precise. Maybe just develop. Oh no, you can't play h5 because g7 is hanging, so maybe bishop here, or just develop, or a rook on. Okay, just develops. And now you can bring the bishop out. And maybe menace this h5 idea, putting more stuff on the light squares. Or pushing all the way, who knows. Not sure if you have time for that. But okay, h5. Or if you want to play passively and just defend, you can castle, but I don't really like that option. Yeah, I'd play either h5 or rook on somewhere. c5, okay, so delaying the decision for another move and also taking the queen away from this central location. Where's the queen go? Doesn't really want to check here because he can block that easily with tempo, so steps back. And this is also a nice lateral defender. Now developing the bishop. And black is completely fine here, as a matter of fact. A little bit down on the clock. It seems to be a recurring problem for Chicken, but alright, taking the bishop is probably warranted. No, it takes a pawn. Okay, this does lose another. No, it's just a trade actually. So takes, draws a king out. h5, or yeah, h5 seems natural. Maybe okay. So getting in behind the king, trying to cut him off, perhaps. Well, I like this move. That's a nice move. Something that wouldn't come naturally to me, but blocks off some of the escape squares behind the king and also attacks the queen. I like this idea from Chicken. It's very creative. Queen comes up, defending some of these tender spots, but h5 could still come. Queen on. Queen into the action, h5. One of those two will be played. I'm fairly confident. I don't see anything else you can do with these two pieces just yet. A very mature move there from Chicken. A patient, mature move, cutting off the escape squares. I like that a lot, and I didn't see that. Yeah. Okay, bishop here, so threading this and blocking off this h5 move. I like that a lot. Shoring up some of the light squares. The battle is on the light squares here for sure, at least for the moment. King, maybe steps. No, you can't step there because the knight drops, so maybe step up, but there's going to be a problem there as well, I'm sure. So nicely controlled from Xuanet. Look at this. He's flipped the script here entirely. He's going to win this. Masterful. Nice defense from Xuanet, and turning defense into offense with his king up out in the middle of the action there. Alright, knight f3 in a d4 position, symmetrical d4. Gonna have a more positional game here. Okay, the check. And these d4 positions, either e2, d3, or b5 are all viable options. b5 is a little bit more aggressive, putting pressure on this point. Maybe just castle here. No, it's going to develop. Okay. Standard fare is just castle f3 to take a look at these light squares. He's not going to go for that though. Yeah, very enterprising play here. h4. I kind of like this. It's a different approach. It's putting the pressure on very quickly. Okay. I would take white here. Yeah, the dark squares are on black's king side are very weak. Doesn't really want to take that. Just weakens his dark squares even further. He gets a pawn here with tempo, so he has to decide where the king wants to step. Steps up, takes. Yeah, a lot of pressure around black's king. If he had a knight in hand, that would be devastating. And crucially, this bishop defends this square. So now, maybe queen in? That seems pretty strong. Queen in. You don't really have to be too worried about stuff being dropped on the king, because you can just gobble up material, and there's not enough. There's not any heavy pieces to mate with, and not enough minor pieces either, I think. So I would probably just play queen h5. Blocks with a bishop with tempo, but you can just play this or pawn on. I'll probably play queen there. Let's see. Yeah, what you really want here is a knight. That would be mate, of course. But okay, this is strong as well. He's going to pick up a rook. Anywhere the rook moves, all these squares are covered. So if he wants, he can take this rook and then probably drop it on g7 and create a lot of threats. So is there anything better than just taking this rook? If it takes, maybe, yeah, probably take with a knight, so you open up the bishop's defense of this square, so a rook drop isn't as viable. Black kind of holding on by the skin of his teeth here. He may just about have enough defensive resources. Takes. This knight covers the rook drop here. Bishop covers the rook drop here. Chicken's just going to play it a little bit more slowly, attacking this bishop, trying to remove a defender probably of this square, and bank some material while he's at it. Okay, just take here. Yeah, I don't know why you would think here too much. Just take here and then think. He doesn't really want to go passive with maybe a pawn blocker or something, but maybe it's warranted in this situation. What about, always look at queen sack possibilities. Is that mating? Takes this. This pawn drops. Then rook comes in. So then you got to look at bishop. Okay, he's going to take the rook. So maybe takes pawn. You can't really take that because then this comes with check. So I imagine he's going to take here. Maybe just pawn drop here immediately, but then sidesteps. Probably want to remove this first. So then here, sidesteps, you can have another dropper on the light squares without this nice defense. Now he's going to keep defending. I think he probably had to go on the offensive there. But maybe not. Maybe he has enough defensive resources. Although this looks pretty dangerous. It looks like he's crashing through here with these pawns going to be gobbling up material or promoting, one of the two. Yeah, White's team seems pretty safe here. You can just keep sidestepping. Okay, he's going to block, but sidestep would have been safe as well, I think. So the choice here to give up this bishop was to block up this e2 square so he can't use it for a knight. Because the knight drop king's up. Knight, and the king gets a little bit exposed, I think. Takes, opening up the square again. Now that's going to play with tempo. It's going to come down to a time scramble, 12 seconds against 18. He's going to have to make a move. He's going to find mate here. Yeah, mate should be coming, though. He's found it. There it is. Nicely done. 5 seconds with my clock. So Chicken regaining some of his footing after a 5-game losing streak. The double knights defense. I like this from time to time. It's very flexible. You can break in just about any way. You can play e6, you can play d6, you can play e5, you can play d5. So keeps white guessing. Okay, so he's going to transpose into some pretty standard Italian fare. Bishop e7 mode. Bishop e7 variation. Okay, so here, yeah, White's going to be regaining his material, either taking here if Black defends a pawn, or if Black moves, just going to take here and keep the initiative. I like this for White, these lines. d6 or rook f8 or even knight d4 are ideas here. Okay, rook f8 is going to give him the material back, just to get his king to safety. White's got a nice big center. Black's attacking this knight, drive it away from the defense of the e4 square, and if this drops, then Black should be looking pretty dandy. So king's been drawn out. You got to be worried about king steps and then knight drop here, so he took there twice. e5 to counterattack. So here, takes, bishop takes, because you don't want to open up this square for a knight. I think you're okay in that situation. Takes, maybe pawn on first. Takes. Well, he was worried about something coming in on light squares. It's an interesting move. Actually, he's probably just guarding this square from the knight drop and something else coming in on f7. Okay, where do you want to take here, or do you want to take here? Takes, maybe bishop takes even. Takes, rook drop. He's got to be worried about stuff like this. So, okay, he elects to just solidify his position. That's a good move, I think. Puts another pressure on here, makes white decide what to do about this double knight hanging situation. Rook pins him up in the file, castles, bunch of quick moves. White's got some pressure here. Gonna take that because of a rook drop. Yeah, rook drop here would mate. So if takes, maybe take there. So what's the idea? Takes. Oh no, of course not. Takes this knight takes, and then you've got to give it the queen. Yeah, of course. So Chicken is he's hurting a little bit here. He's got 20 seconds left to defend a very sharp position, and I don't think it's going to be enough. Yeah, Xuanet has found a way to mate. Very nice. Smother mate. Got a bunch of spectators here. 15 specs. That's respectable. This is one of the better matchups for sure. Very high level Crazyhouse matchup. Xuanet deciding what line he wants to play. Xuanet is a very innovative and creative player. He likes to play a lot of different setups and get out of established lines and just have a game, you know. So now I've got a, what could you call this, a Grunfeld maybe from black? I don't know. Just double queen's pawn. Probably capture and then replace a knight here. It's common. Make black defend this pawn somehow. It's a bit of a positional concession from black. Pretty standard developing moves. Bring the rook to the open file, sidestepping here with the queen and defending this pawn. Black has to be a little bit careful about stuff, material or pawn drops on h6, but for now he's okay because he has nothing. White has nothing in hand. He could take here and place a knight here. It might be mildly irritating, but yeah, I would probably take and then place a knight on. You can't sidestep because you'll have two attackers on f7. So maybe takes. I'm just gonna castle, or takes place and then capture here. I would have liked that continuation from white. Knight h4. I'm expecting f3 maybe, because in this isn't so much of a threat. You can just recapture and you have another defender on the light squares. And another place to run with your king if you eliminate this knight. So f3 seems pretty standard. Knight drops back. Maybe he's going to reroute to f5. Put pressure on this point. This is a conventionally weak point in these structures. So white defends that and attacks his knight at the same time. Good move. Like bringing the queen. It's not really doing much here. It's just stunted by this pawn, so it brings it to squares where it could be more active. Black decides to sack. This is interesting. f6. Because he's contending that these light squares aren't so much of a problem because he has this light square bishop on him. Okay, makes sense. Don't imagine he's going to play... White sacks. I suppose he didn't want to play this, and after takes, open up the light square, so that makes sense. White comes in on... What did we miss here? White comes in on the dark squares, takes, sacks a little bit. Okay. Step back. Captures. And both kings are a little bit exposed. I think black's king's probably a little bit weaker. But black does have more material in hand. So where's the king? Does he want to block or step up? If black can get safe, he has ideas like taking here, bringing his queen into the action. Maybe a pawn drop here. So if blocks, then a knight's going to come on. Maybe knight, block, knight comes on, bishop here. This bishop can really step out to add more defense. Could even just consider stepping up here and running over like this. Oh, looks like he may have DC'd, yeah. Well, that's a bummer. It's a very open position. It still could go either way, for sure. But yeah, it looks like he's DC'd. Huh, unfortunate. And Chickencrossroad being very charitable there, good sportsman, giving Xuanet extra time, hoping he comes back. Yeah, this may have happened in the past. I think I remember seeing on like a Jan Lee video, Xuanet's internet connection maybe not being so good, so maybe his ISP has just gone down momentarily or something. Hopefully he'll be back. Yeah, he's back. Good deal. So the game marches on. White wants another knight in hand. That's an interesting decision. I wouldn't have played that because he already has a knight in hand, and this bishop is a very good piece. But okay, he wants to give it up for that knight. Yeah, okay, so this bishop lives to fight another day here. What does black have? Rook, king just sidesteps. Good. Oh, I like that a lot. Pawn here. Takes. Now rook here again, I imagine. If takes, another pawn comes on. It's got this kind of perpetual checking windmill type idea or queen factory type idea. And yeah, black's coming in. Very nicely done from Xuanet. Defended precisely, and I think white could have probably continued that a little bit more accurately and defended against that g2 threat and those rook drops. Alright, nice e6. Got the double knight again. See if he goes for this symmetrical e5 type structure again. d5 this time, okay. Multiple exchanges on d5. And now here just e6 is fine. Bring the bishop out is also fine. Sometimes I play bishop out and a knight drop on, then I take here, knight takes here, takes, and you get 2 knights for the queen. It's an interesting position. You can't drag the king out, but so maybe it's not so good there. And take there, right? Takes and then pawn drop. Then you have to be looking out for knight drops and stuff like that. Pretty tactical, sharp position here. I'm not sure about this knight move. I'm assuming his idea was to sack on f2. Okay, he's gonna counterattack the bishop. I might have played a knight on there, attacking the queen. But Xuanet elects just to drop back. Pawn blocks. Bishop blocks. Pawn on, or his idea. If you had a knight, you could take here comfortably, because then takes and knight on, but he has no knight in hand. And looks like white is just going to get comfortable. He's quite safe here. And black's queen is going to get chased down around a lot, which is something you got to watch out for when you exchange early on d5. So what's he considering here? He's considering a pawn drop, surely. Although it doesn't really amount to much. It's just he is gonna Okay, pawn's going to come on here in the light squares. Makes sense. Maybe just drop back is fine. Pawn's going to come on to e2, I imagine. e2 or c2. From here, you can even just move the bishop away, you know, because the black doesn't have another diagonal piece to replace on e2 after you drop a rook. Rook takes, and he has no rook, another diagonal piece to drop. And he can't sack for one because he's pinned up. Yeah, I like white here. Now that's a curious move. He's trying to deter the bishop from the defense of the d1 square so he can drop a rook there and pick up the queen. The question is, can white safely take that? I don't know. It's dangerous, but maybe. I think he can. Takes, rook on, takes. Queen drop here or here isn't really gonna, it's not gonna mate, I don't think. Is there something I'm missing? But white attacks, decides to attack. Makes sense. How does black defend here? He doesn't really want to use a rook to defend because then he's got nothing. He has no counterattacking options. He wants to keep his rook in hand, so there's always threats around the white king. He takes. He boldly moves ahead. It's probably his only option here, as a matter of fact. It's probably still losing, because he can just move the knight away and then plays a pawn on, but he has to try. He has to try something sharp, because otherwise he's just going to get mated, you know, without any counter-attacking options. Okay, queen comes in, he's going to take this knight, and mate will be, and pawn on is going to mate. Knight on does a trick. Xuanet steams back after, so that's 8 games to 1 in the past 9 games. So Xuanet is playing this early d5. Now the queen drops back instead of being a little more aggressive, so this queen can't be chased around. However, white's going to be ahead in development. Castles a6, prophylactically stopping a piece from coming into this square. He's preparing a b5 to bring the bishop out. Xuanet decides to take there twice, which is, it is an option. 2 pieces for the pawn is fine. But I like white here. Yeah. Maybe this knight moves away, and then after pawn on, you just sack again, 2 pieces for the, or 2 pawns for the piece, and it's going to be equal material again. Maybe white just wants to come in the dark first now. Just leave this pawn here. Maybe pawn here and here. You can pick up the rook. That is an option. Yeah, at b7, Matthew says, I was looking at that as well. It would pick up the rook here, there. Pawn there, I mean. I like this move. Just trying to get rid of this thorn on the side, this c6 pawn. So maybe bishop here isn't a terrible option. You don't really want to play pawn here, because then the knight can just take there twice. So knight on here, or pawn here, or pawn takes, all are options. Yeah, knight here isn't super, because then just takes and black gets to take that pawn back. So either pawn here or taking on g7 is probably what Chicken is considering here. Maybe even bring this knight up to e5 is an option, but I would probably play pawn on here, takes, and then knight at e5. Attacking this bishop and bring another centralized knight into the equation. Let's see if he does. He does go for that. Okay, he does. Put the knight on e5. If takes, probably take the queen. Defends this. I don't really like that. You can take here and place a bishop on. Or you can just leave this knight here and play like on the dark squares, bring another piece on h4. Yeah, I like bishop h4. Okay, he does the first option I was mentioning there, taking here and placing the bishop on. Huh, I probably wouldn't have guarded that rook. I probably would have guarded the c6 pawn, actually. Or just castled. But okay. It's just a pawn, I guess Xuanet's contending. Chicken has taken a lot of time to come up with a game plan here. And Xuanet is doubling them up on the clock. So maybe takes, something like that. Takes this pawn, interesting. Take with the queen or the pawn? Takes with the queen. Take here, and bring a knight in. Or bishop here, something like this. I'm not sure about that. I might have considered playing the bishop on and breaking down these dark squares. That would have been pretty dangerous for black, I feel. Yeah, if black captures here, his spidey senses are tingling. He knows he's going to be broken down in the dark square, so he knows now is the time to start an attack of his own. Couldn't take the queen, of course, because knight was defending e2. Queen drop on e7 would have been end of the game. White doesn't have much time here, but he's much better. So see if you can find a way to bring it home in 20 seconds. You got a motor, chicken. You can't take your time here. So I thought the idea of a pawn here was to drop a pawn here, but it's going to pick up this bishop instead. Makes sense. Queen drops back, putting pressure here. Nice knight move tempo, defending this at the same time. Xuanet's going to win this, as a matter of fact. Just not enough time on the clock for chicken, and he didn't find an accurate continuation to continue the initiative. That's a step up, because the rook here would have mated, but this knight defends his square. So too little, too late for chicken, I believe. Xuanet should find a maybe queen here, and then you can. You don't really want to move the knight away from defense of this, but you do also want to open up this bishop. Gonna give up the queen just to stay safe. Just be ultra safe and ultra cautious and get him on that clock. That's probably what he's thinking. I don't see a way in. Oh, there's a way in. Wow, that's mate. King takes, knight on, king steps, queen there, mate. Very nice from chicken. As Xuanet felt for a little bit of a cheapo there at the end. It's happened a few times this series. I was being dismissive there, and I shouldn't have been. Chickencrossroad always a very dangerous contender, even in the late stages of the game with very little time on the clock. That's a skill he's probably picked up from Bug. Very dangerous. Xuanet's going to be kicking himself there. Probably should have taken a little bit more time to figure out a more accurate defense or a better way to keep the pressure up. Anyway, Xuanet's playing some inventive stuff with b4, knight f3, and then b4. It's interesting. f3 I know looks really weird, but it's not terrible. Because it does blunt this bishop, and black doesn't have an easy way to come in on f2. And it does, this formation here does control some central territory, so I know it looks weird, but it's not actually terrible. The queen can come here and defend this square. Queen does come here, and the king can always run over to the queen side if necessary. Queen comes up, block. I don't know about that. I probably would have run the king over here, but then you still have to worry about that, so yeah, that's not very good actually. Queen blocks this. Takes, pawn on. Oh, it's dangerous. Takes, pawn on, queen takes, knight takes, queen here, something like that. What else could he be considering here? Okay, so he just drops a knight back and defends a queen. Queen here isn't a terrible option, although he probably just block with the queen and then take. The king is comfortable on d8. Might even be more comfortable on d8 than it would be castled because of this bishop. So I'm assuming he's just going to block. Takes, yeah. And the king is relatively comfortable on d8 because his bishop defends easy entry squares, knight defends this, bishop defends this. This is a good move. He doesn't have a knight to block, so he's going to pick up a piece like this. Maybe pawn here is a little bit more accurate, so he could pick up this piece. But he does have two. Okay, so the idea was to take this knight. Even if he takes here, he's probably going to play what, knight check or no. He's removing this defender. That's what's happening here. So he's going to capture on f3 next. What is this move? What is bishop at a2? Okay, it's just a misclick, mouse slip. He's going to allow this. He's going to allow the knight taking here. Or he could even take here and then takes. But that's probably unnecessary and unnecessarily risky because then there's always bishop drops here. Drag the king out. Although there's no knight, so it probably would have been safe still. I do take in here first. But this is quite enough to do the trick as well. Maybe knight here first before recapturing on e5. Or maybe queen takes, and if takes, then you take the rook. Or even knight takes is fine. Anything here is probably winning for chicken. Yeah. Yeah, in that position, if he had taken here, a pawn drop here would have been made. Nice move. Opens up the knight discovery, double check, and a queen coming on. This is going to be made soon. I expect either a resignation or a checkmate to come pretty quickly. Queen on, or no, queen here probably. Yeah, queen here and pawn here mates. Queen here, there, pawn on would have mated. Or here, queen there, and then here is going to mate. Yeah, it's all well and good. Yeah, this would have been, it's all 3-move mate, so that works as well. Nicely done from Chicken. Bit of a weird opening decision there from Xuanet with this knight f3, b4, and then bring the knight in f3, e3 stuff. It's curious. It's not terrible. It can be a fun way to play. Looks as though Xuanet may be done. But, it looks like he's DC'd, but okay, so that was an interesting series. I'm glad I caught a few of these games and was able to record this for posterity. And yeah, let me know if you like this, guys. Whether or not you like this commentary and kibitzing and getting some of these other elite players matches up on YouTube to review at your leisure. I think this was a fun series. In the end, I think Xuanet probably came ahead, although it was rather seesaw back and forth. But Xuanet seems to be in very good form. He's going to wrap up close to 2,700. And yeah, okay, I'm going to cut off the video there. And hope you guys enjoyed.